Fighting in schools, parents emailing News Channel 3 asking for help. Tonight we're taking a deeper look into the problem and our continued efforts to hold officials accountable on what they're trying to do about it.
What we uncover, numbers are telling a different story. Here's I-Team reporter Angela Chen on what she found and the mental health impact of it all.
Scenes like this. Here in the Coachella Valley, parents and students sent us videos of fights. And we're not alone. After the pandemic, behavioral issues skyrocketed across the nation.
Get that food!
Now, years later, fights continue to be an issue at some schools, like this one at James Workman Middle School in Cathedral City.
It's heartbreaking. It's very difficult.
These fights can create hostile environments and affect student mental health.
I think it can cause a lot of fear and anxiety and sadness in the kids that are viewing it. It questions their own safety, right? Like, am I going to be safe? Is this going to happen to me?
More than 8 in 10 public schools across the nation reported seeing stunted behavioral and socio-emotional development in their students because of the pandemic. Violence against educators also grew after COVID-19, rising to levels exceeding those before the pandemic. That's according to the American Psychological Association.
It can make it harder to even want to go to school. You know, if I feel like there's a possibility that, you know, I might be harmed, I may not want to even go to school, which obviously can impact your grades and your ability to learn.
I asked all school districts for the latest statistics on school suspensions, and what I found is that numbers are down across all districts. Take a look. For Palm Springs Unified, overall suspensions for fighting this year are down 35% from its peak in 2022-23, dropping from 710 suspensions to 458. For Coachella Valley, suspensions are down 37% from 907 in 2022-23 to 566 this year. And finally, for Desert Sands, suspensions are down 23% from 2 years ago. Why the improvement? School districts tell me it's their focus on student mental health. Still, there are parents who say administrators are not doing enough, like Crystal Garcia, who spoke on her child being bullied.
When I reported all this to the district, the superintendent didn't even follow up. Did they fix the problem? It doesn't look like they fixed the problem.
So we asked the districts directly. How do you respond to parents who accuse school districts of deliberately not suspending kids who fight to make suspension numbers look better?
That's certainly not the case. You know, safety is a priority at Desert Sands, and every time there's a fight, the staff thoroughly investigates it and looks at appropriate discipline. We also want to pair a discipline piece with an educational piece, because just suspending does not necessarily change the behavior. And what we're really looking at is changing behaviors.
All said they follow Education Code 48915 for suspension and expulsion recommendations, which most often leaves it to the principal to decide disciplinary action. CVUSD said they have shifted the focus to restorative practices and wellness support. PSUSD said, wherever possible, the goal is to intervene prior to a fight happening with tiered supports, conflict mediation, no contact contracts, and more.
What's interesting about depression is it manifests very differently in children and adolescents. It can present as anger. It can present as aggression, acting out behaviors. And so I think sometimes when we think of depression, particularly in adults, it's lower mood, sadness, loss of energy. Whereas in a child or a teen, it might present as sort of that agitation and that anger.
That aggression tied to depression can seem at odds emotionally, but it's why all school districts have said making mental health wellness a priority, and a pillar in education has made a big difference. They are accrediting mental health programs with that big drop in suspension numbers. CVUSD says it's implemented the transformational model, which focuses on teaching kids conflict resolution and restoring relationships. The district has also established wellness centers with professionals providing emotional self-regulation strategies. PSUSD says under a new program initiated last year for students who fight, week-long behavior management lessons are required. Since starting this intervention program, educators say there's been a reduction in second offenses.
A significant investment in student wellness. You know, along with our amazing counselors and school psychologists and nurses, we have hired school-based mental health therapists for every middle school and high school. What we've found is really destigmatizing mental health, and so really looking at how we can support.
Some of that support looks like this. DSUSD is using a county grant to create these cozy calming spaces in every elementary school. We also saw the district's commitment at Indio High School's inaugural mental health fair in May.
Mental health affects everyone, and everyone is human and they're all going through their own things. It doesn't matter how small or how big the problem is, it can affect you.
About 30 booths were set up, complete with sound healing, offering resources on reducing stress and anxiety. This comes as teens live a large part of their lives online, facing increasing pressure and often self-esteem issues because of social media.
The pressure that social media creates, the instant access all the time, the kids, the students and the young teens, they don't get a break from each other.
Kids these days have some tough challenges, often making mistakes in formative years that then become immortalized online. And if suspensions continue to decline, it only reaffirms the importance and impact of mental health wellness for kids. In Indio, Angela Chen, News Channel 3.
And News Channel 3 will continue to follow fights in schools, suspension numbers, and the mental health impact.
Also continue to ask for answers on all of these issues.